Having thought of it, without my being able to think of it, in fact.
Now here we can begin to look at these old farm buildings.
A bit of possibility, because pasta is a very old food product. You know, you've heard the story about Marco Polo bringing it from China into Venice. That's probably true, but the southern Italians were eating pasta before Marco Polo went to Venice. They probably got it from the Arabians, who called this dish, get one loose one here, they called this dish shivka, which means a thread, or the Arabs called it, excuse me, that was the Indians. The East Indians called it shivka, or thread, and the Arabs called it rishta, or thread. The Italians started eating it, and they called it spago, from which we get the word spaghetti, and spago means string. So today we're going to cook string. But you can't cook good string or good pasta without wine. Pasta and wine absolutely belong together. So I want to take a minute with you and run to California and see the California vineyards. We've not talked about the actual pressing and the picking of the grapes. And today I want to do that. Today, I wish you'd been with me. We had a wonderful time. We took some of our friends here from our studio down to California, and we stood in the fields and watched them pick. Now, these fields are in the Christian Brothers fields, the brothers of the Christian schools. And watch this fellow carefully pick. He puts his basket underneath the grapes. These are Semillon grapes, I think, yes. And you see the knife he's using? It looks like a little claw. We've been using that very same knife since the 14th century in this culture for picking grapes. He has to sort as he goes along, and everyone does the same thing. And then after they get a big basket full, this gal was really quick. It was 80 degrees out, and she was covered up so that she wouldn't be bothered by the heat. I couldn't understand. Anyhow, the grapes go into the vat. Now, there's also an automatic way of picking. You can use an enormous machine. These people are doing all this work by hand. But in California and in France, we also have a great big machine, and it goes along the fields and sort of rattles the grapes, shakes them off of the vine. And yet in France, they pour the grapes into an old vat, and in California, we pick them by hand and throw them into a truck that hauls them around, you see. So, but in the end, we come up with a wonderful wine, whether it's mechanized or whether it's the old way. We're not going to stomp on the grapes now. We're going to put them through a mill, literally, that separates the pits. I couldn't wait to taste these grapes. These are Cabernet grapes. Separates the pits and the stems from the skin and the juice. We want the skin for color, and we want the juice, of course, but we don't want the stems. So the stems, which are bitter, and the seeds are taken out, and then the juice is pumped over into a great big vat, and this vat becomes the fermentation tank. And after a few months in the fermentation, well, actually just a few weeks in the fermentation tank, you have a wonderful experience. And then it's bottled and barreled, and we call it wine. And with a plate of pasta and a glass of wine, I think you can enjoy surely one of the simplest meals. It is peasant food. Pasta has always been peasant food, but it's one of the elegant meals as well. You can make pasta out of anything you want as long as you use flour and water. That's all pasta means. So you can use wheat flour, you can use corn flour, you can use wheat flour, you can even use rice flour in China, or you can make them out of pancakes, as they do in Vienna. Incidentally, did you know that one of the great products in Italy for the use of a pasta dish of flour and water is corn, and it's called polenta. I'll make some for you today. Do you know where they got corn? Do you know where corn came from in Italy? It came from the United States of America. This is our product. This beautiful corn came from a farm just outside of Chicago. Isn't this gorgeous stuff? And the other neat thing that we brought them, of course, was the tomato. Can you imagine Italian cuisine without polenta and without tomatoes? I can't. But of course, there was a time when they had neither one. So we brought them to them. Now, let me show you some quick dishes using good pastas, because we're going to cook in a hurry today. Something new, it's all, as always. Put the corn aside, and I have a frying pan going here. I'm going to do a pasta with onions, green onions. I know this sounds weird, but that's all right. My burner is hot, so into the pan, I want to put a bit of olive oil. Here it is, a bit of olive oil. There we are, and we're going to saute some garlic. Oh, 3 or 4 cloves here. I better find some garlic and clean it for you right away. Remember how to do this? When you clean garlic, pick out a couple of nice cloves and just hit them, you see, with the bottom of a bowl or something, and they'll come right out. You see, the fiber comes right off, so that there's no reason for you to sit around and complain over the fact that you can't enjoy yourself because it takes too long to clean garlic. It does not. It doesn't take long at all. That'll go into the hot olive oil. And then I'm going to toss into my olive oil about 3 bunches of green onions. And I've cut the green onions. Wow, that pan's hot. I better hurry. I'll show you how to cut green onions in a minute. You should have 3 bunches of them. You see how I've cut them? You cut the onion down the long way first, and then cut them into smaller pieces, 1-inch pieces. So split the onion down the center. Let me toss that. This is such a good dish. Oh, don't let the flame upset you. It means absolutely nothing except that the oil is being ignited in the air by my gas burner. Now, when you see that done in a fancy restaurant, don't be impressed. It's all a lot of phony nonsense. It doesn't mean a thing, I promise you. I want to heat up some Italian gravy or Italian sauce. I'm using my favorite spaghetti sauce. Oh, half a cup will be plenty. Maybe a cup. We'll see how big the pot is here. All right, now we're ready to go. We have in our frying pan the olive oil, the garlic, and the green onions. We're heating up some spaghetti sauce. I better shut that off. It's going to be overdone. And we're ready. We'll put the pasta in the pot. Now, I have pre-cooked my pasta. I don't think that this is a good trick for regular use, but I'm going to do it today. I pre-cooked this a bit so it was almost done. Now I'm going to throw it into a pot full of boiling water, and we'll take it out right away. You see, it's very simple. Ah, this is just an interesting dish. I enjoy it. The onions are finished. The sauce is hot. So we'll take the pasta out of the pan here. I'm using a pasta fork. You ever played with one of these? This is a stick with looks like a wooden spoon with a lot of pegs in it. Now, I think that's what it is a wooden spoon with a lot of pegs in it. But you can understand how it works now. All right. There. And I want to get all the rest of this out, too. I've got too much in here. I wanted about a half a pound of pasta. That's more than half a pound. Half a pound will serve good 4 people at least. There. Now, we'll get the sauce on this. Well, come on. Does your pasta do that, too? You know, the only way you can get pasta to behave is to cook it too long so that it's sticky and gooey, and then cut it into little short pieces so that it's no longer any fun. And that's no good. I don't want to do that. All right, the onions go over the top of the pasta now. The fried onions, olive oil and garlic. There we are. And then for our sauce, we're going to add a bit of vermouth to the sauce, dry vermouth, the kind of thing you use for making a good martini, you see. I want about 3 tablespoons of dry vermouth. I'm going to pour it right into my spaghetti sauce. Got it? Just dry vermouth. Just doesn't have to be expensive. Don't worry about it. And some black pepper. The sauce is hot. I made the sauce ahead of time, of course. When I make what they call an Italian gravy, I generally cook some chicken bones in it. Chicken bones, or I'm going to put this on the pasta now. The chicken bones, or perhaps some pork neck bones. There. Now you're going to want to sprinkle. Oops! Almost had catastrophe here at this end. It's going to run off the table. We want to sprinkle some cheese on the top of this, and we have an onion dish. I don't serve this to everybody because people who love green onions are special people. I only serve this to people I really love. And the next one's even worse. All right, we'll put some cheese on this. Onion pasta. You see how simple this is? It's just a variation on something that you've cooked before, namely good pasta sauce and some spago, or spaghetti string, you see. String made out of paste. And all the paste means is that it's mixed with flour and water, and then it's cut into noodle shapes or dried or extruded. Ah, there. The onion is terrific. Let me do another one for you. This one is a quick dish called a pasta with onion and anchovy. And if you don't like anchovy, I'm going to tell you why. Let me drain my pot first, though. I have the spaghetti left in the kettle here. So I have a pot of boiling water on the stove so that I can heat spaghetti up in a hurry that I've kind of pre-cooked and then stored in cold water. There, I think I have it now. I didn't want to mix up these 2 kinds of spaghetti. Come on, get in here. What's going on here today? There it is. I'll get rid of this one. Boy, get out of there. Okay, now we're ready to go on. I'm heating in my frying pan some olive oil, garlic, and yellow onions. About half a cup of yellow onions, and I've sautéed that. You see? It's all ready to go. Now I need to prepare my anchovies. The reason that you thought anchovies were too salty was because you left the salt in the anchovy, of course. So here's what you do. When you're ready to use anchovies, you want to simply drain the little tin. This is a 2-ounce tin of anchovy. Drain the oil out of the anchovy and then wash these. Just rinse them really quickly in a little bit of cold water, and then soak them in a half a cup of milk for about half an hour. See what I've done? That's all there is to it. So now I'm ready to use them. They're ready to go. I will take them out of the milk. Don't use the milk in the sauce, and the milk has all the salt in it. And they'll go into the pan, and we're going to cook these along with our onions, olive oil, and garlic until, let me get a paddle here so I can stir this, until they begin to fall apart. And this will make a very rich anchovy sauce. Get back in the pan. Did you see me do that? Something jumped out, so I threw it back in. I'm in charge here. I don't want food to tell me what it's going to do. I want to know. Tell it what I think it should do. All right. Now, to that, we're going to add a bit of Italian gravy, again, which is it's simply a tomato sauce. We just want a bit, about a fourth of a cup. That'll do it. That's plenty right there. Fourth of a cup of tomato sauce, good tomato sauce that you've cooked from scratch yourself. And we want some cream. I'm going to use some half and half. Doesn't have to be too rich. You don't want to do that. There it is. Oh, another half cup. Let that cook for just a minute while we heat up our pasta. Then the pasta goes in the same pot again. And this time I'm using linguine. Linguine. It looks terrible now, but this is all going to fall apart when it hits the hot water. And it isn't overcooked. Trust me, for heaven's sake. It's not a difficult thing to do. You see? See, that's just about ready right now. Let's go back to our sauce here. The onions and the yellow onions, the anchovies, the little bit of sauce have cooked. Oh, this is rich. Good heavens, this is rich. There we are. All right, I'm going to turn that off. I want to add a little bit of pepper. Oh, yes, of course, I did have some salt in the water, but don't put salt on this particular dish, because the anchovies, even though you do rinse them and soak them in milk for half an hour, they're still a bit salty. So we don't want to do that. All right, that one's finished. Let's get it out and put it on a platter. I just love pastas. I don't think you can have too many pastas in your life. When I was in Venice, I'm not trying to drop names, I'm trying to be snotty. When I was in Venice a few months ago, I ate pasta until it was coming out my ears, and I learned that in Italy, you know, they'll use all sorts of things for pasta. For instance, the next dish that I'm going to make for you, it doesn't have a noodle in it at all. It's made of a wheat product called semolina, or we sometimes call it farina, or cream of wheat. There. Okay, that one's ready to go. Let me put the sauce on it, and we'll clear a spot here if we can. I think we can manage all of this. There, the sauce is very, very rich, so you don't need much. Anchovy with onion, yellow onion, garlic, a tiny bit of cream, and of course a bit of our home-cooked pasta sauce. And I'm going to grate some fresh cheese on the top of this. There. Now if that doesn't, you remember I put some black pepper in this too. If that doesn't do it for you, well, you're really not a pasta freak. And I am. I could eat this stuff. All right, let's go on. I'll be able to find a place to put this. Here we go. One of the problems I have with you each day that we cook together is that I want to keep stopping and eating, and I know you do too, because you tell me that whenever we meet in the street. But I've got to keep cooking, so we're going to do it. All right. The third one, let's see if I have room here for everything. I think we'll make it. The third one is a dish. I just told you about this. It's a dish made of wheat, and it's called semolina. So I want to get 3 cups of milk going on the stove. We're going to cook up a porridge or something the consistency of cream of wheat that's very thick, or corn pudding, the kind of thing that your grandmother used to keep her family alive on. So 3 cups of milk, about a teaspoon of salt. I want a shot of nutmeg, 4th teaspoon, 8th teaspoon perhaps. Notice I'm using a little nutmeg grinder. You see, I grind it fresh. I don't want that war surplus stuff. That's no good. And finally, a little bit of black pepper. Well, there we are. Bring this to a boil, and then add, see if I can find my product here. Here it is. You want to add 3/4 of a cup of semolina or farina, and you can buy this at most markets. See, it's fine. It looks like fine ground cream of wheat. You see? I want 3/4 of a cup, and we'll stir that into the pot. There we are. All right, stir it in quickly. Bring it to a simmer, and keep stirring this as it thickens, just as you would make cream of wheat in the morning for breakfast, you see. And keep stirring this, and within very short time, it will cook up. Well, I'll show you. It cooks up like concrete. Let's be honest. It cooks up very thick, and that's what you want. The rule is that the spoon or the spatula must stand up in the polenta or the semolina. Polenta is made of corn. Semolina is made of wheat flour, of wheat, you see? Put this aside and I have one all ready to go here. I hope this is going to work. I prepared this ahead of time, and I hope we're not going to get into trouble. You see how thick it is? You see how thick that is? Now, that's really thick. I've been standing here waiting for you to show up. No, it's not your fault, I know. We want to add to that now a couple of eggs. We'll just pour in two whole eggs and stir it in really, really well. I want a cup of grated cheese. There we are. Can you believe this? A cup of grated cheese. Yes, I know it's rich, but we're making a dinner, and we're not fooling around here. And then we're going to add the secret ingredient, which in this case, you can use anything you'd like for flavoring, some ham or something, but I'm going to use a marvelous Italian ham called prosciutto. That's not quite mixed enough. So let me get the prosciutto cut up. When you look for prosciutto in this country, don't try and find something that's been imported from Italy, because it won't happen. It's illegal in this country to import Italian meat products, because they're afraid of, what is it, hoof and mouth disease or something? I don't know, some very complex matter. So don't look for it. You can't even buy Italian salami in this country that's really Italian. I went to Italy a while back, and on the way back, the inspector, you see, you think it's great having everybody know what you do everywhere you go, that we talk. I got off the plane in Washington State, in Seattle, in my city, and the inspector recognized me, and he came running up and he said, "Mr. Smith, what kind of food products do you have in your bag you shouldn't have?" And I said, an Italian salami? And he said, "That's right, give it to me." I bet he ate it. I didn't get to even taste it. But you can't bring these products into this country. So we'll chop up the prosciutto, or you can use regular ham. I'm using about a half a cup of chopped ham, and this will go into our farina. We're making farina dumplings, or semolina dumplings. Now, stir this up, mix it well, then spread it out. Oh, let me show you the next step. I have this already finished for you. That's the only way you and I can cook together. Spread it out on a board so that it will cool. And I just use a piece of wax paper and a plastic tray, you see. And I patted this out. You see the ham in the farina? And now I'm going to use a little glass and cut these rascals. So, you see? And then I'll have a dumpling. And the dumplings will come out and be placed. Let me get a plate here for you. Place it in an oil baking dish. This is not as complicated as it looks. You place the dumplings in a baking dish. And then I'm just going to put one on there for you. I haven't time to do anything else. Then we're going to brush them with a little butter. About 5 tablespoons for this whole batch. And then we'll sprinkle some cheese. There we are. Brush them with some butter. Arrange them in a big, well, you'll see. I've already done that. Kind of a shingle pattern. And then we're going to put a bit of grated cheese on the top and put them in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes. Now, that looks pretty lonely. Talk about orphan farina, orphan pasta, but his friends are doing fine. Let me show you what happens. The first time that I served this dish to the boys, they went crazy. They just went crazy. I'll show you why. I have one in the oven all ready to go. It is so beautiful. They puff up a bit when they cook. And you see, this is served now. Well, pasta actually should be served as a course on its own, and it fills you up before the main course comes. And the main course, of course, would be meat and perhaps a little salad. So you have an antipasta first, or a soup, and then the pasta, and it can be something like this, or it can be the third. 1, 2, 3, the fourth one I'm going to do for you today. But it's to fill you up with wonderful pastes, good things. And rice, of course, can be used as a paste as well. So let me show you how to make a quick rice paste. I have some rice already cooked, and I've used Italian rice. No advantage to that, but I did it anyhow. I've got 2 cups of rice here, cooked it up in 4 cups of water. You understand what to do. Now I'm going to add to the pot. Let me get a big bowl. This isn't going to work otherwise. We're going to make rice balls, deep-fried rice balls. Now, I know I don't deep-fry much stuff for you. I admit that. Come on out of there. But today, we're going to do it. Let me get a paddle here. There you are. Everything is sticky with paste, with pasta. Now you know why they call it pasta. So you can make paste out of anything. All right, 2 cups of rice that we've cooked up. To that, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt when we cooked it, you see, and a bit of melted butter. And I have a whole stick of melted butter here for you. We'll mix that in. And then we're going to add 1/4 cup of parsley. Ta-dam! We'll have time to mold these, I hope. 1/4 cup of parsley, 1/2 cup of grated cheese. Da-dum-bum. And 2 eggs, well beaten. There they go. Now this is mixed up, and this is our basic pasta, or our, what do we call it? Our paste from which we were going to prepare the rice balls. Now the fillings are strictly up to you. This recipe for arancini came from John Fusco in Mobile, Alabama. I couldn't believe it. John Fusco was down there cooking all this here Italian food. But John Fusco was a very fine cook, and I was a judge in a cooking contest. And John came up with this recipe, and he just blew me away. He didn't win the prize, but that wasn't my fault, boy, I'll tell you. Now we're going to mix up a filling, and you can do anything you want. I'm going to put in a bit of, let's see, let's try it this way. How about 1/2 cup of hamburger, already cooked, you see? A bit of provolone cheese. And remember, provolone is the round smoked cheese. So I want to put in some provolone here. Oh, 1/2 cup or so. And another cheese that's popular, this kind of cooking, is mozzarella. So I want to put in about 1/2 cup of mozzarella. And then we're going to put in some chopped mushrooms. This is John's recipe. He just goes on and on and on. And finally, he adds some chopped salami, you see? This is a Genoa salami. So we're going to put in about 1/2 cup of Genoa salami. Whoops, that's a little much, Smith. Let me show you how to make one of these, because they're great fun. As we celebrate pastas, anything made out of a flour and water or a grain, we'll mix all of that up so that you have your filling all ready to go. And let me show you what to do here. Take a bit of the rice and press it together, something the size of a golf ball. Something the size of a golf ball, okay? Put your thumb in the center here, you see? And then put a bit of the filling in. Oops, that's too much. Push it down inside, and then close this rascal up. He'll stick together. You should wet your hands, it's much easier. And you see what you have? You have a rice ball, which is now ready. See? Arancini. No, it doesn't look that messy. Stop it. I have time to do only one here for you. I'm going to roll him. I'm really getting low on egg here. I'm going to roll him in a little egg wash. An egg wash is simply whipped up eggs, right? A couple of beaten eggs. And then we'll put him in some breadcrumbs. Isn't this glorious? We are making a meal that is unbelievable simply out of a ball of rice with a little meat in the center. Now I'm going to drop this into fat, and the fat is 350 degrees, about 350 degrees. We'll put him right in there. Hope he's 350, is he? Oh, just about on the button. And toast him until he's brown. And at the end of, this is going to take 3 or 4 minutes max. For heaven's sakes, not much longer. Let me show you what you get. I have some in the oven that I brought in. They keep warm beautifully. You just put them in the oven, make a whole batch of these just before you want to sit down to dinner, and then haul them out. See, normally I don't do a lot of deep frying for you, but this one doesn't absorb much fat at all. I'll show you what I mean. And haul them out and bring them to the table with you can do a little strutting, because it's a complicated dish in the sense that it takes time, but it's a very frugal dish in the sense that you can feed everybody very well, and it's very beautiful. These are arancini, or rice balls. They're very hot. I've kept them in a warm oven. You see? Aren't they beautiful? You get the size, about the size of a golf ball now, and they're filled with meats and good things. Let's see what's going on in the kettle here. I think he's just about done. Not quite. This one's going to be done after you leave, but those are the breaks. I'll eat it anyhow. All right, one more I want to show you. It's in the oven now, and it is polenta. You cook cornmeal until the spoon stands up in the cornmeal. That's the only rule. And then you add anything you want to it. Milk, egg. Well, you don't want to add milk. You add eggs to it for a thickener. Or in this case, I added some thyme and some cheese and some green or red peppers and served it that way. This is a great dish in Italy, and I cannot imagine, as I told you earlier, I cannot imagine what Italian food would be like if it were not for corn, ouch, burning myself, for corn and tomato. And these items came from the New World. There, I have 5 pastas for you, and only 2 that you recognize. The two that you do recognize, of course, are spaghetti, or spago, thin strings with an onion sauce on it. Then I have a linguine with an anchovy and onion sauce on it. Thirdly, we have dumplings that we made of semolina, or a wheat, a beautiful thing. And then we have a polenta that we made of corn. And finally, the rice balls, arancini, from John Fusco in Mobile, Alabama. And that's it on pastas. Have a good time, feed your family well, and they'll really love the rice balls. You won't get away with, you won't have any leftovers. Trust me, if you do, call me. I'll give you my phone number. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Until I see you again, I bid you peace.
F. Smith's exciting collection of classic American cooking is available to you now in his new book, The Frugal Gourmet Cooks American. Call 1-800-541-4100 to charge your copy or to order by mail. This special selection of over 350 easy-to-prepare recipes is available for only $19.95. Just call 1-800-541-4100 today to charge or mail order and enjoy the best cooking in America today.
They're covered with mud. I've scraped off some of the mud. You remember you saw these in the little tape we had of Hong Kong? You scrape off some of the mud and make them look like a zebra, but of course when you pack them, they're just packed in mud and lots of salt. That's what they look. These are called salted duck eggs. Big deal. Now this is the one that is called the 1,000-year-old egg. Well, of course, it's not 1,000 years old. It's no more than, I don't know, a month at the most. And it comes packed with a lot of mud on the outside and straw, and you just wash all of this off. There you are. And then when you crack the egg, let me get a little dish and I'll show you what happens. It's so beautiful. Do I have a smaller one? No, this will do. What you do, I'm going to wash this one off. I've just put a straw on it from, well, that's the way. I already peeled one. There. What you want to do is to wedge this. Now watch what's happened. This is the egg that I've just cracked. So now that you're wondering about me, I might as well do it. You see what happens? When it's been soaked in lye, the egg, oh, that's a perfect one. Oh, we'll cut that. Whoops, oh, it just broke the shell. Shame on me. Well, anyhow, you see what happens. The color is simple. The white turns black, and the yolk, let me get rid of this one. The yolk turns, well, I don't know how to describe this. Let me show you. It's the most fascinating flavor. Let me show you what happens. To cut this with a little wire. This has never been cooked now. You understand? This has never been cooked. A preserved egg, preserved in lye. Now watch what happens. The center is the color of your Easter eggs on Easter morning when you let them sit out without refrigeration. They turn kind of green. There you are. And this is how you eat them. And yes, I do like them. But the first time that my wife and I ever had one, we were shocked because looking for some light soy sauce here. Here it is. Some light soy and some sesame oil. Got it. The first time that Patty and I ever tasted one of these, well, I'll show you. We put a little bit of sesame oil on it. That's normal. Of light soy, I should say, and a little bit of sesame. And that's how it's served in a normal dinner. And what happened, when you pick one up, where'd my chopsticks go? I don't know where my chopsticks are. Well, we'll eat them without chopsticks. When you pick one up and eat it, it's gorgeous color, interesting aroma. And after about 3 bites, the flavor of ammonia hits you like a truck accident. And that seems to be what the Chinese love. Isn't that interesting? So there you have an egg that has been prepared in lye. I don't do these at home, but I will show you how to make salted eggs at home. It's very, very easy. All you do is take a saucepan of hot water. We're making salted eggs now. And please, remember now, I'm telling you, don't put them in the refrigerator. We're talking preservation, and the reason that, how will I put this? When you were a kid, your mother used to preserve things because she couldn't afford to buy something other than that, you see. And then later on in your life, you can buy things fresh all the time. You can afford it. In our time, we can. But you have that incredible hunger for those preserved things when you were a kid. You know what I mean? Well, this is an example. I have 4 cups of hot water. This was boiling. I'm going to add a cup, about 1.25 cups of salt. I'm using kosher salt because it has no iodine in it. And then you heat that and dissolve that. And you're ready now to pickle eggs. Now, for flavorings, you can do all sorts of things. For instance, you can do tea eggs. You can put in a fistful of tea and let that, just put it in the water and it will sit. And you can put in a couple of star anise if you want. That will work. Or you can put in some Szechuan pepper. You can do all sorts of things. And next you put in the eggs. Let the water cool. Boil 4 cups of water, add 1 1/4 cups of kosher salt, then either tea or Szechuan peppercorns or star anise, and let that sit for a bit. After it's cool, then you simply pour it over. This hasn't dissolved enough yet, of course, because I'm busy chatting with you as I always am. I'm not paying attention to my temperatures here. Pour it over the eggs and let them sit. Get all the salt in there. They should have dissolved, you see. And let them sit. Now, you ready? Do you have your pencil ready? You've heard me. I'll tell you twice. Listen closely. Let them sit outside of the refrigerator for anywhere from 20 to 30 days. Do not call the public health department. Do not call the newspaper. Just leave them sit outside on your counter. I leave mine in a plastic tub for anywhere between 20 and 30 days. Let me show you. See, I put mine in a plastic tub. And at the end of that time, well, here it is. Let me show you very quickly. It's so interesting. Here you have a salted egg. Is it fascinating? See them floating? The old line in China is that if you don't have enough salt in your water to pickle the egg properly, a potato will not float. It will sink. Well, you know potatoes always sink in water. No, they don't. If you put enough salt in the water, they will float. So let me show you how to cook them. You can hard boil them and just serve them that way, just as I did this wedged egg, which was supposedly 100 years old and it's only a few weeks. But let me show you this one. This is absolutely delicious. I have some ground pork. I'm going to make steamed pork with salted eggs. Watch what happens. Into my pork, I want to put a bit of chopped green onion. A little bit. I'll give you the amounts in a cookbook later on. I just don't have time now. But a little handful of chopped green onions, a little handful of chopped water chestnuts. I have about 1 pound of meat. I need a bit of ginger. I'm using a good ginger grater here. And then, of course, we'll do the other two parts of the triune. What is the triune in China? The triune for meats is always the same. A little fresh ginger, grated. Now I need some dry sherry or Chinese rice wine. I see someone's been nipping on my sherry, so we'll try the rice wine. This is from China. You don't have to use it. Chinese rice wine is fine. Just a shot. And then we need some light soy sauce. Here's the light soy. Over against the dark. Remember, dark looks all muddy. So ginger, you've got ginger, sherry, and light soy. These are the 3, and you've got to have them. And that will get rid of the what's the word I want? Gamey flavor. That's what the Chinese dislike about meat. Do you know the Chinese claim that Caucasians who eat too much meat smell like meat? And the Chinese are not happy. How will I say this nicely? They're not pleased marching into a dining room with a bunch of Caucasians hanging around because we eat too much meat and we smell like meat fat, beef fat. You see, and the Chinese don't eat that much meat. You eat very small amounts, and that way you can celebrate meat as a flavoring rather than a whole course. You see? So we have a bit of water chestnut, a bit of green onion chopped up, and then the basic 3 for meat marinade: sherry, dry sherry, soy, and ginger. Now to that, we're going to add a bit of cornstarch. Oh, wow, that's too much. Calm down, Smith. I want about a tablespoon of good cornstarch. And, a couple of eggs. Now, these are raw eggs. These are just plain eggs, straight from the chicken, okay? And we'll roll those in. I'm going to try it My cook, Craig, you know, my friend who cooks, tells me that if I'll just crack an egg on the counter and then pick it up, it will open right away. Well, that's not too bad. He keeps trying to teach me. I'm a terrible cook. I'll never learn. All right, what else do we need to add? How about some sesame oil? That will help too. Just a tiny bit of sesame oil. And we'll mix this up. What are we doing? Well, we're making a steamed dish. Use your hands, use your hands, use your hands. If you have enough gall, use two. Be much better at blending that way. There we are. There we go. Now we're going to put that in a fish dish, and we're going to steam it. Now, you can use any kind of steam you want. I happen to have my fancy bamboo steamers because I love them. I just love them. From China. And you notice that there's a fish in this dish, and I'm going to put meat on top of it because the fish is always a symbol of plenteousness in China, and it's also the symbol of plenteousness in ancient Israel. In ancient cultures, that was a symbol. That's why I wear a fish all the time. You know that that's what this fish is. Let me show you here. There. The fish that I'm wearing, whoops, get that boiling. I think we're all right here. The fish that I'm wearing all the time is jade from ancient China, and it is a carp from the China Sea. You see? Isn't he beautiful? Whoops. Sit up straight. It is a tail and his big head, you see. And it is to protect me, to make me wealthy because it's a symbol of joy. Not in terms of money, for heaven's sakes. The Chinese aren't that. That's not the issue. But to make me wealthy in terms of happiness. And so I've never done a show without the fish. No, it is not a shark fin. Those of you who live in Los Angeles who say, shouldn't be wearing a shark fin on the air. Not a shark fin. Not a shark fin at all. Shark fin indeed. All right. The dish of pork is all ready to go. So I'm going to make a dent in it. Watch what happens now. And I'm going to take 2 of my eggs that have been salted. And look what these have been soaking now for, I don't know, 15 days or so, maybe 20 days. Now you see what's going on here? Look at the yolk is hard. It's firm. You see that? Now you're going to put this in a steamer. Steam this for, see that? The white will run out over the dish, but the yolk will stay in one piece. It's just hard, almost like a piece of candy. And then you steam it. Put it in a steamer. Let me get rid of this dish because I already have one in the steamer, of course. Look at this. That's a little hot. I think I've got it. This dish is absolutely wonderful. And Chinese mamas tell me that when it's time for dinner, the big fight is not over the pecan pie. They don't make pecan pie. The big fight between the kids is over who gets the biggest chunk of the salted egg yolk. That's a great treasure. Another dish that I think is really delicious and just as exciting. You know, we've spent so much time with China that we've forgotten other cultures, but the Chinese really are the most clever cooks when it comes to eggs. But look at this one. This is a dish from Italy. So let me get some asparagus here. If you blanch some asparagus, I have a little basket here. Can you see all of it? Let me get rid of my tea eggs. There we go. I know. Sometimes you send me letters and you say your kitchen's always such a mess, and I send you a note back saying, so what? You say, well, of course I love it. Put a bit of asparagus in the water. Remember I told you that you should always put some oil in there? And I'm going to use a little bit of peanut oil or olive oil to keep it bright green. Now, in the meantime, while that's blanching, it'll take just a minute. I'll get a frying pan hot, get rid of my eggs here. And we're going to make a, I don't know what you want to call this. I think it's going to be called asparagus and eggs, which comes from Italy, the northern regions. And eggs have always been, as I told you earlier, have always been very much appreciated in Italy. So look at this dish. It's so simple. Blanch the asparagus first. In the meantime, I'm going to whip up, let me throw in a couple more pieces here. It's a wonderful, wonderful dish. There we go. There's no water in this. I mean, of course there's water. Stop it. There's no salt in this because salt will draw out moisture, and we don't want that. We want the moisture to stay in the vegetable, so don't salt the water. Salt the vegetable later on when it's done cooking. I'm really convinced that all the directions on your frozen food packages are wrong. Don't put salt in them until later on because you'll ruin them. I know. They're going to write me and tell me that's crazy, but that's all right. All right. Now, in the meantime, my pan's getting hot. I want to poach some, very lightly cook some eggs, and I'm just going to beat them up a bit. And I'm going to use olive oil again. Now this time, you see, we're doing an Italian dish. We've done the Greek Easter eggs and the Greek bread and... oh, did I tell you that when we were in Greece, we had this big... we have a big fight with Easter eggs because the idea in Greece on Easter time is to fight with the eggs and see who won. Well, this egg won. And this guy now goes on to the next person, you see, and you go around the table until everybody has either had their egg busted or has won. And it's a wonderful, strange, sort of very Greek thing with the Easter egg, the red Easter egg, symbolizing the blood, the joy, the redness, the wonderfulness of life. Okay, that's enough. Let me add some olive oil to the pan. Oops, got peanut oil. Where's my olive oil? Here it is. Peanut oil in China, because it doesn't have any flavors. Olive oil in Greece, because it does. Excuse me. There, all right. Now, let's let that heat up a bit. All right, we're gonna saute the eggs, or scramble them, I think is the word you want, very quickly, not on high heat. You see, they're not getting all brown. I don't want that. Let me find a spatula here. You don't want to brown them. You just want to poach them a bit in oil. A little bit there, that's fine. Those are almost ready to turn off. Just takes a moment, you see? There we go. All right. I'm going to shut off the frying pan right now and just let those sit. Did you get that? Now that was live, you see? I don't believe in cooking eggs too much. For heaven's sake, they'll ruin them. So let's get a bowl now and we'll prepare. Boy, do I have lots of bowls down there. The asparagus has been blanched, and that's all. You want to blanch the asparagus. There we are, into a bowl. It's been drained, and I'm going to put some butter on that. This recipe is so simple. Oh, half a stick of butter. That'll do you. And a bit of Parmesan or Romano cheese, freshly grated, of course. I did this before you came, so don't ask those nasty questions. And then we want to add to that just a pinch of salt and pepper. And here's the salt. Okay, just a little bit. And a bit of pepper, which we will fresh grind, of course. Of course, you know that. That's a basic rule in this kitchen. You never know who's ground your pepper beforehand. Don't do that. Can't do it. Terrible shame. And we'll toss that. Now, look how simple this dish is. I have in the bowl then the blanched asparagus. That is, they've been cooked just until it's barely tender. Put that on the platter. Yeah. Along with it, you toss it with a bit of butter. You know, in ancient Rome, they used to use gallons of butter on asparagus. Can you imagine that? Okay, butter, salt, and pepper. We're going to put this on the plate now. And the egg is all ready. And we'll fold the egg over the top. And you have, there, look at this. You have a dish. Isn't that wonderful? Let me put that out for you. You have a dish that's just wonderful. I have one more for you. Oh, I have, if you can stay for 2 weeks, I have lots more for you. When I was in the Jewish ghetto in Rome, I found a pizza man who was making egg, tuna, and artichoke pizza. Can you imagine? There it is. Today we celebrated the egg because it's a very ancient and wonderful food product going back, well, to early man. We don't have any history. So I have made for you little quail eggs and baby corn. We've celebrated a wonderful asparagus with egg, steamed pork with salted eggs. We have pizzas. We have breads that are gorgeous, the red of the celebration of Easter, all for the egg. This is the Frugal Gourmet. I'm sorry it was so quick, but until I see you again, I bid you peace. Bye-bye.
Next on Cuisine Rapide, Pierre Franet shows you shortcuts to classic recipes. Stay tuned to GPTV.
The Frugal Gourmet was made possible by a grant from LK Manufacturing Company. LK brings out the beauty of America's kitchens by offering a full line of kitchen sinks, faucets, and accessories, including the Euro-style Calais faucet.